Stitches of love we sow. In this online world we come to grow. Mom and Pop Quilt Shop, where hearts align. Let's embrace the craft and let our souls shine.
Hey everyone, welcome to Weekend Project. I'm Laura Lynn of the Mom and Pop Quilt Shop, and today we're going to work on one of those panels. I have a very cute chicken panel you'll see here before I cut it, because I only had one, so I can't show you what it looked like beforehand. So here it is, a little picture there. And now we've kind of chopped it up. So I kept the center nice and straight where the hens for this part here, and just added, I took what was trimmed off the sides here to even it up. I put it on the top and the bottom to help square it up, sort of. Obviously it's rectangular. And then I added fabric here on the side of red. I just chose from my stash what would kind of complement this, and then added 2 more borders here. But when I did border up the others, these ones here, I noticed I was a little shy being this way, this lengthwise. So this little strip here is just a little bit longer or wider than this strip here, but that's fine. That's how you adjust and adapt to the panel, okay? So just think about it differently. This is just going to be like a table topper or a, tablecloth sort of thing. So I have the one last chicken here to border up. Here's the other one. Okay, and then we'll put those two together, and then we'll add them to the sides of this one. So the chickens are going to, instead of facing straight the way they were in the panel, they're going to going outside. It's going to be facing to the outside to make it more friendly. Whatever. So we have this one here, and I just want to trim it up a little bit more. You can see where the panel part ends on it, and what I did is I came close, but not too close to the square itself that the frame of the chicken is in, just to allow for a little bit of this fabric to be part of the seam allowance, so we're not losing so much of the black from the frame, right? And you don't necessarily always want to give yourself a 1/4 inch left over from this, because if your seams are not exact, this color is going to poke through and it's just going to look a little dorky. So okay, so let's just trim this one up, move our little mouse out of the way, and we're just going to come close but not right next to. Just leave like a tiny bit of space. Like I said, we're just only that little bit of smidge of fabric is going to be in the seam allowance. Okay. And then we took that measurement here. Okay, so that gave me what, 11.5-ish. So then I put one on either side. It was the bottoms. Yeah, bottom and the top first. So there become that cut there with this pretty yellow, and this here. I chose to outline the red with the black and then the black with the yellow, just to kind of balance it all out. Okay, so let's grab a pin or two and sew those down, and then once we iron them out, we'll have the next cut, which should be about like 15 1/4. Okay. And then when you put those two together with the pieces that we put around the middle section, it looks also nice. Okay, so let's do that. Make sure we're good to go. Got a 1/4 inch seam allowance. You're having a great week so far. Can't believe summer's almost to an end. What is your favorite season? I love fall. Fall is just the Christmas in the air. Fall and spring are my 2 favorites. So I do look forward to those 2 the most. I find summer is a little bit too hot and winter is a little bit too cold. So, or it's maybe because I don't necessarily have to use the air conditioner or the heater in those months. And I'm cheap. You tell me, what's your favorite season, if you have one? Interested to know. Like these colors here in the panel, they kind of fall to me on the fall side. So, all right, let's move these back over to here. Give ourselves a little press, and then we'll confirm our measurement of what we need for those 2 other side part panels, and then cut them and sew them on. Okay, and then we can just sew the 2 together, and then be done. So hopefully this gives you some ideas. If you're looking at a panel, maybe even have it only a partial one. Like I think this was just something's gonna bail it off the side of my desk there. A partial panel. There may have been a bit more to it, but it was just like a little chunk. I'm like, okay, I'm making something out of this. All right, so I've got it there, and yes, 15 1/4. So I'm gonna put that there. Make sure I'm not using the seam allowance, or sorry, the salvage. I apologize. Sometimes words just get mixed up in your head. Okay, so I'm only going to go over a quarter. Chop that off so I know there's no white bits going to be able to be seen. And then come down here to the 10. Make sure it's correct. Yes, it is. There. And then this can go for another piece of scraptastic. And then we'll add these, putting the right sides together. So when we sew that seam allowance, it's framing that rooster just one more time. And you could frame it as many times as you like. You could have just 4 panels and frame them or border them up like a log cabin, and you'll make a big enough, once 2-inch strips, or like the courthouse steps or something, like just to build up around that center block. Make that the feature and then just highlight it. You can do that with just a whole panel. All right, so just going to sew those 2 seams. And there's actually quite a few colors in the panel itself. Like if you were to just take the inspiration from the rooster's tail feathers right here, you've got all sorts of greens and burgundies and like taupes and tans, cranberry, cherry apple, all those beautiful colors of nature. You could have picked any one of those to highlight if the color palette is more to your pleasing. Like even if it's just your panel and it only has like a tiniest little pop of pink, grab that pink. It'll highlight it. It'll make it seem twice as big if you surround it with the color. Right? That make that little pop just go, ooh, look, it's shining. Okay, and we're just going to press those. And then sew the 2 blocks together that I have for the side. I want to make sure they're opposite than the ones I've already sewn. Okay, and you can see there's no little bit of tan or anything that was from the surrounding border of the rooster. It's lost in the seam allowance. I mean, if you want to use that as a feature, go ahead, but you're going to have to be really bang on with your seam allowance, and I'm not interested in having that kind of stress. Alright, so here is our other set. Okay, so there's 2 roosters, okay, and then, so that goes that way. I just want to make sure I'm doing them the opposite. So here, and here. There we go. Lovely. Go look at your left, look at your right. Okay, we'll sew those 2 seams together. And then just 2 more. And then you can border the whole project if you wanted. Now each block has been built out and each section has been given a frame or 2. The center section has been given, well, I guess we just kind of finished it up, but yeah. And then you can go from there if you want. You can border more out on either side. You can make it longer, make it wider, just making those borders just a little bit thicker. Okay, let's press this. It's not too bad to use the iron today, so hence why it's being used. Sometimes when we're filming and it's just way too hot with the cameras and everything. Yep. Okay, so that is one side. Let's just make sure that this side is pressed as well. You can see where I was cutting it with that little bit of cream being hidden in the seam allowance. I just didn't want it to break up the frame, but nor did I want to have to come in so far that I was going to lose the flower display or pattern around the edge of it. Okay, so now we're going to take this part here. Okay, here, right there. It says eggs premium hens. And we're going to add a piece on either side so the hens are facing outwards. Okay, so we're going to take this piece here, flip it there. And this is where you can adjust that final piece on the outside edge just to make sure when it matches the size of your blocks, right? I needed to add just a 1/2 inch extra. So instead of being a 2-inch cut, it was a 2.5 inch cut. And it's fine, it balances it all out. Just because it's 2 on one side doesn't mean it has to be like 2 on all the sides. All right, so we're just going to sew down this seam here and then the one on the other side. And then we're done. And that is another way to use your panels. Don't let them sit in the closet. You know, chop them up, turn them into bags, make tablecloths, table runners, all those sorts of things. Stitch just to keep the stitches so we don't add anything on as we're laying it out to get quilted. It's not going to come apart. Okay, so now we have that side. Let's lay out the other side, and again we want the roosters facing outwards. So we want to make sure they're going this way, right? It's always sometimes the best practice is lay it out first and then pin it so you know you have it right. Sometimes when you're in a bit of a rush or you think you have it right and then you go to sew it and you realize you had it upside down, or it was, you know, the wrong section. It was should have been on the top instead of the bottom or something like that. I've done that more times than I can shake a stick at. Sometimes you just get in the moment. I understand. Just go. Just gotta go. I want to make it. Now this seam right here, and it went from a little panel to a nice tablecloth or a table runner in no time flat. And sometimes if you just don't know what to get somebody and you don't necessarily, you know, want to put in all the time and I guess space, because you need space too to make a big project, right? Having something this size, even lap size, let's make a nice lap size quilt. Give those a press. Make sure we got no needles under here. Press those two edges. And we have a project that is 30 inches wide. And we'll see how long. And when you make a tablecloth or a table run or something, it doesn't have to cover the whole table. It can cover the table if you want to, or it can come in just a certain bit. It doesn't have to. There's no rules or regulations or anything anywhere that I know of. You can make it any way you like for the space. Okay. Alright, let's see how long this is, because we know it's at like 30 something wide. 31 wide. And 49? 49. From a little chunk panel to a lovely, even just a wall hanging. Now, like, that's lovely. That's lovely. Yeah. Thanks, everyone. Hope you have a fantastic day, and don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you soon, okay? Take care. Okay, cut. I didn't like how that looked. So I changed it. Let me just press it and I'll show you. I appreciate you sticking it right out to the very end. Sometimes you don't know what it was going to look like until you hold it up and finish it. And I really wanted those blocks flipped. So I went and did that way. Okay. Instead. I like that much better. Thank you very much. Big hugs to you. Take care.